Okay.
Here we go. I got all check marks. Yes, here we go. All right.
All right.
All right, let's try this again, folks. I just fired my production team. And by team, I mean me. I am trash at this. I don't know how to do lives, but here we are. Welcome to the Abby Effect, which is my not so big, not so small podcast, not so big because, guys, I don't even have 500 subscribers, but I do have 200. So thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. I have a very special guest today, my very first guest, Mr. Keith. Keith, take it away. I want you to give a quick introduction and just kind of let us know who you are and why you're here. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody knows who you are.
Well, no, so basically, who I am, I'm an Iraq War veteran. I am a history major. I went to Iraq in 2009 before I could even drink. So after I got out of the military, I went to training, learned about military history, and now what I'm doing on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube is I'm doing political speculation about real world events, and I'm using historical context to figure out where we are and where we're going next. So
So,
it's exciting.
so with that being said, is it safe to say history does repeat itself?
History repeats itself and it rhymes. When historical events happen, it appears that it repeats, but it's a rhyme.
When you say that sounds scary as hell. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, human nature, psychology. This has been studied for thousands of years, right? Um, so we understand that humans follow a predictable path, and that's what the study of history is. The study of history is to make sure that we do not repeat those mistakes.
Now, do we follow those paths because it feels like the safer route to go?
I think so, and I think humans tend to follow strongmen, right? Strongman
Mm-hmm.
characters throughout history, and when you have a single point like the psychology of a strongman, right? That psychology is easily followed, just like if you were um, doing an investigation with CSI or something like that. Each type of leader has an MO, right? They leave breadcrumbs. Um, so understanding how history works and how some of these people work, like looking at Putin when he invaded Ukraine, right? Understanding what happens during that time, what could happen next, the chain of events, and using historical context to look at Europe after the fact. These are all events that you can make an educated guess on, which is why I think I got one of my videos that a lot of you have probably seen right now at 11.1 million views.
Are you
Um,
joking?
no, not joking. I predicted on December 11th, using historical context, that Venezuela was going to be taken by the United States, fully taken.
Now, are you? I want to show that video just in case people have no idea what you're talking about, which I doubt because I'm sure that people have seen it. I mean, you just said it's 11 million views. I know when I saw it, I was like, "Who is this guy? I need to talk to him. I need to pick his brain." Um, you're kind of a little younger than me, but not too much younger. Do you remember that what was that? The psychic hotline you would call the Miss Cleo? I'm like, I met Miss Cleo. And I went back to read the comments, and so many people are just like, "Wow, you had it right." So I'm going to share that on the screen, just so we can get so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. This
Mhm.
was on December 11th that this video debuted. It was on your Instagram, right? Did you do it on TikTok as well?
Yeah, I put it on TikTok as well. Yeah.
All right, awesome. I'm going to share it. Here we go, guys.
Trump is moving to take Venezuela because we are about to lose economic activity from Taiwan due to a Chinese invasion. The Telegraph is reporting from a top secret document that the U.S. military has assessed that it would be destroyed if a confrontation happened between Washington and Beijing over Taiwan. document points to over-reliance on Chinese goods, along with their hypersonic missiles that can destroy aircraft carriers within minutes, which leads into what we are doing into Venezuela. In Taiwan, we have economic activity at about $130 billion per year because of chips, AI, and other things. At a modest recovery at $60 a barrel, Venezuela could output $190 billion per year. It is now clear and obvious to me. China is about to make a move on Taiwan, and we are taking Venezuela because we would not be able to economically survive without the output from that oil. This is why the president and the government is not making a case to Congress. It would induce a panic. It's the only reason why we have 25% of all of our forces right off the coast of Venezuela, currently in a pre-World War.
Still gives me the chills when I watch it. Guys, that was December 11th.
That was December 11th. That was 3 weeks before Maduro was captured.
That was, what, January 3rd it happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know you freaked a lot of people out, right? And by a lot of people, I mean me.
Did I freak out a lot of people? Yeah, because, especially the next thing that I said right after that was because we are about to witness a Chinese invasion of Taiwan.
I know, right? I have so many questions about that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that they had their naval ships literally surrounding the Taiwanese waters. And what's that about?
So if you recall, during the right before the Ukraine war, there was a military exercise that included Belarus and Russia. And the military exercise was to surround and have some live fire drills, but to simulate an attack on Ukraine. It was no longer a simulation.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah. They decided to pull the trigger, right? So the exercise to move military forces, that way they had an excuse to move military forces into position. It's just an exercise, right? So what China did was live fire drills, practicing for taking out the Taiwanese military. Now, if you have been listening to my content lately, I've been talking about what the State Department has been saying about our hemisphere. Taiwan is not in the United States hemisphere. We're seizing
the Monroe Doctrine. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or what is he calling it? The Don Roe?
Yeah, the Don Roe.
The Don Roe Doctrine.
Yeah. So I think we're probably gonna start seeing a three-way regional struggle along the same lines that we saw pre-World War I. The United States, and I know this is going to be really hard for a lot of you guys to hear, but it's the truth. The United States is no longer a superpower.
Would you say China is the superpower?
No, there is no superpower in the world that controls. Think about the United States 1985 to 1995, something like that, right?
Right.
Think about where we were in comparison to the rest of the world. We were a superpower, right? Now, when you think about the current geopolitical climate, can you say there is a superpower right now that is so far ahead that they can just throw their weight anywhere in the world and make anything happen?
No.
And the answer is really no right now. And I think China is about to demonstrate that with Taiwan. Now, according to the Telegraph from early December, the United States said through its own military and its assessment that they believed that the Chinese military would destroy the U.S. military in a confrontation with
Oof.
Taiwan. That was a U.S. military assessment.
So it wasn't even from our adversaries. It was intel from our people.
Right.
That's
So,
mortifying.
yeah, and that was the prelude that you guys are actually seeing now on the throwing the weight around in our regional area, Colombia, Cuba, Greenland. What the fuck?
It's like
You know?
$100,000 he's offering now to each resident. Did you see that?
God, that's crazy. There are homeless veterans in this country.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
and now you could just suddenly give $100,000 each person, and there's over like
I was gonna
130,000
say,
people or something that
do we
live.
know the population of Greenland? I'm gonna look that up.
It's
Um,
it's something like that, yeah.
I did want to ask you, you labeled it as simulation that ultimately became, to fruition, right? Is that something you see with Iran right now? They're testing their missiles, and Israel's like, no, they're lying. This is all fake. Is it? Do you see that coming down the pipeline as well?
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I would not be
In our
surprised.
hemisphere, but I was just curious about that.
Yeah, no, I would not be surprised if we had an attack on Iran as soon as this weekend. I would not be surprised. Um, the reason why I say that, just today, the Islamic Republic cut all internet access to their civilians.
Oh yes, I
Um,
saw that.
you saw that, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
And it's because the protests have become so diversified. In fact, two cities have fallen to demonstrators. I saw
Oh, you
that
didn't
today
know
too.
that.
Yeah. Um, so, what is Israel and the United States thinking right now? A crippling strike against the Islamic Republic in the middle of this could spell the end of the Islamic Republic.
Which is ultimately what Israel's been kind of leading to since the 80s. I
Yeah,
think it's fair to say.
yeah. No, I would even say, I would say that they were even messing with Iran, even
Prior.
even
Yeah.
before the revolution. Yeah.
It's some scary stuff. I'm gonna put this on the screen. I just shared, I just Googled the um the population of Greenland just so we can follow up with what we were talking about.
Hmm.
So it's 56,000 to 57,000 people live in Greenland. So if he wants to offer $100,000 per resident, or I don't know if it's per property owner or whatever it is, while we have homeless veterans in this country, that's a problem.
That's a
That's a
big
huge
problem.
problem for me. That's a
That
huge problem for me.
that's not America first. I'm sorry, guys. It's not.
And some guys don't want to admit it. I mean, the America First movement, I think it's no longer. Something happened in the last couple of years. I've seen a shift with the loyalty to even to the base. Something's going on where it's no longer America First. And if you can't admit that to yourself, or you can't just say it out loud, then you're kind of part of the problem. That's not America First, guys. I think you hit the nail right on the head, Keith, when you say there's so many homeless veterans, people that gave their lives, their families' lives for our freedoms, made sacrifices that I would never. And again, I should say this to you actually. Thank you for your service, because I know that, and we'll talk about what you did. You were in Iraq, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I
Yes,
do
ma'am.
thank you for your
Yeah.
service. This is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the whole thing about one of the things that drew a lot of people to the MAGA movement and the American First movement was the truth being told about the Iraq and Afghanistan wars,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Afghanistan was justified to go in, but maybe not stay, right? And then
Agreed. Yeah.
Iraq, why the fuck were we in Iraq?
Come on, they
Right,
told us there was weapons of mass destruction. You don't, you
right,
don't, you
right.
don't remember that lie? Like that
Yeah,
was horrible.
yeah. And then, the politicians for the longest time until about 2015 said that, Iraq was worth it. This is what we're doing. They kept to the weapons of mass destruction line for so long, even after it was proven. Um, so, when a politician comes or a businessman comes into
Right.
the picture and says what everybody finally wants to hear is that, we should have never been in Iraq and it was a mistake. Um, of course, he got attention. But now, when we look at what's going on with Venezuela, another resource war, another endless war. Um, I hope, my hope is that it does not escalate any further than what it is right now. But if you follow me and on my historical and um, prediction based analysis, I don't think it is going to de-escalate.
So actually, for people that are watching or are gonna watch it later on, is your TikTok name the same as your Instagram? Because I only put your Instagram name.
Yes,
Perfect.
ma'am. Yeah.
So bringing up Venezuela, I have a question because I'm a little intrigued. I did a whole episode on my not so big, not so small podcast regarding the capture of Maduro and his wife. And I would have bet money that they were looking at Maria Machado to take over the reins. And he completely just disavowed her and said, yeah, you don't have the respect of the Venezuelan people. Where do you think I would have bet money on it. What do you think happened there?
Um, so I think there's two different stories here. I think there is the story from the CIA, and I think there's a story from Donald Trump. So the story from the CIA, and I get this, I understand it. The story from the CIA is that they need the current vice president, the number two in command to Maduro, to stay in charge right now because the dramatic shift to another person could cause more irritation to society. It could spiral down to insurgency, Afghanistan and Iraq all over again, right?
Hmm.
Um, the other side of that, and this is something that I've heard and I've read, so please do your own research on this. But I've heard that if Maria Machado gave Trump the Nobel Peace Prize in the beginning and refused it and said give it to Trump instead of me, I've heard that she would be president of Venezuela today if she would have done that.
That's
Uh,
so funny you say that because I read that too. And I thought about it before it came out. And I thought, he's kind of like a big crybaby, right? He's like this dude renamed the Kennedy Center, like the Trump Kennedy. Everything's like the Trump gold card. Everything it's almost like an ego. Well, not almost. He is an egomaniac. He's nuts. He's out of his mind. And I thought to myself, man, I bet that lady wishes she would have physically said, hey, this is yours. She probably would have been reined in as the president of Venezuela.
yeah, and the other side of that, when elections come up. Okay, so let me bring up a little bit of historical context for you guys.
Let's do it. I love it.
All right, so after World War II, Joseph Stalin seized most of Eastern Europe, including half of Poland, Romania, created the Soviet Union, the bloc, right?
Right.
And he sold it to the Allied powers at the end of the war by promising elections. He said, as soon as I stabilize these countries, as soon as I stabilize these countries, they're going to get elections.
Yeah.
What's happening today?
Oh, man. You're right. You're
History
absolutely.
always rhymes, ladies and gentlemen. Look at history and you will know where we are going.
Do you think our nation, they seek to have that one figure that it's going to be like like the savior of all saviors? It's going to get our country back in order, and people saw Trump as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost like in an inhumane kind of like idolatry type of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of people thought that there was going to be like a massive rollback of presidential powers. Like the
Mm-hmm.
executive orders were going to be like dead, right?
Right.
I thought a lot of people saw the restoration of the constitutional republic.
Mm.
The president has his powers or hers, and Congress has their powers. I think a lot of people got irritated. Constitutionalists got irritated during the Obama presidency, especially when it came to, the Great Recession and the bailout and completing the bailout. That was the birth of the Tea Party movement, was the
Mm,
Great Recession. And the Tea Party movement eventually turned into MAGA, right?
yeah,
Um,
that's a good correlation. I mean,
yeah. So the way that I put this for people to understand where we currently are, September 11th created fear. The Great Recession created uncertainty.
mm,
And then to top it all off, after all of this, we had COVID-19.
you're just spitting facts right now. Yeah.
Yeah. The series of events in the past 25 years has effectively destabilized a lot of things, which is why we're seeing irritation all over the world. And when I say irritation, relations between different countries, right? We're seeing that irritation everywhere. In fact, there were studies done all over the world, even for remote tribes. And when there was major geopolitical events in the world, these remote tribes with no communication or connection with the outside world would get into conflict with other tribes at the same time as global conflict. How do you explain that?
I guess we literally are all one in one, right? We're all connected.
Yeah. Geopolitics is a lot of understanding how irritation plays into the world.
That's a that's an interesting perspective, and I think it suits perfectly for what we're seeing. I mean, I never in my I'm 41 years old, and what I've experienced as a 41-year-old, I never thought I would ever like we survived a global pandemic. Like the psyop that was,
Yeah.
well, do you remember CNN would have like the ticker on the side for the deaths that COVID caused? That was
Yeah.
traumatic for some people.
Right. And then you're all stuck at home, right? And all you
Driving
got
each
is
other nuts.
all you got is the news, and the media, and then whatever job you had, right?
We definitely have been subjected to a bunch of different. It's just politically speaking, like geopolitically speaking, right now. And I saw today actually that the military budget went now from 1 trillion to 1.5, which to me would indicate like some crazy shit is gonna probably pop off.
Mhm.
A
Yeah.
half $1 trillion added. What are your thoughts on that? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, are the payments for Greenland coming out of that? Like, what are we talking about here?
No, yeah, they're prepping for something. The whole reason why we had to secure Venezuela in the first place is the exact same reason why the mustache man had to secure Czechoslovakia and Poland.
Yes.
It was because of resources, and he was using. If we roll back to 1933, right? Um, the mustache man was using Czechoslovakia and Poland as stepping stones for what he actually wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Which is why in one of my videos I mentioned to you guys that I think we're going to see a modern day blitz of extreme speed and extreme violence with one of the best militaries that has ever existed in this world. We have air, sea, and land power that can move anywhere in the world in 18 hours.
No shit.
One of our aircraft carriers can destabilize a small nation. One aircraft carrier.
How do how do average uh, average working day Americans prepare for this? And I do have a question real quickly before we even dive into that.
Mhm.
So I did a video on my YouTube talking about Iran as well, saying Iran's next. Trump did talk about Cuba. Do you foresee these events? I'm acting like you're a psychic, so I do apologize for that. But you're so knowledgeable that I just want to ask other things. Do you foresee all these events taking place simultaneously, like Iran, Cuba? Venezuela was just what 5 days ago. It seems like it's been going on forever, but it's only been 5 days.
Yeah. So put your mindset as Kim Jong Un. Like, think of yourself as Kim Jong Un, or think of yourself like President Xi.
Mm,
And you have these things that you want to do. You have these goals of your country. Okay. And the United States, and if they are focused on one thing at a time, maybe two, maybe three events,
maybe.
then we could probably handle that. Now, if you're looking from the other side and you're saying, man, I really want to take South Korea, or I really want to take Taiwan, the best time to do that is when that big beast of a monster is stretched as far as they can go already.
Right.
Um, but again, I think the United States has already made the decision that Taiwan has been lost. Right now, we're just basically getting bonus economic time.
Wow.
China, to help Russia's war machine, purchased thousands of amphibious attack vehicles. These vehicles can go into the water, drive across the water, bring troops in, just like on D-Day when you guys see like Saving Private Ryan, how they were all pushing the ships, those boats to sea or to the land. I mean, opened up. Now these things have become a lot more technologically advanced nowadays, but it's the same concept. The reason why
Who
Taiwan
do they
has
purchase it from?
what's up?
Who do they purchase it from?
China purchased thousands from Russia.
From Russia. Okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure. That's what you said.
and Russia, of course, because of the Ukraine war, they haven't been needing amphibious attack vehicles, but they made them, and they need resources, so they sold a whole bunch of them to China.
So when you hear people say, "Oh, Russia is still in this war because Ukraine stands a chance, otherwise they would have been uh, taking them over," what do you say to that? Because that's like an argument that I've had with people. I'm like, yeah, if Russia really wanted to destroy Ukraine, it would have happened. People are like, well, then they should have. This is basically saying that Russia is not the powerhouse that people believe.
I mean,
It's been
that's a
what? How
fair
many years?
assessment. That's a fair assessment. People asked me on another one of my videos, like, do you think Russia is going to try to help Iran? And
Mm,
I keep on telling people, Russia's losing, like, what is it, like 2,000 people a day in the Ukrainian war. It's a meat grinder, right? The reason why Putin wants peace now, and the reason why he's talking about peace with Trump and everybody else right now, is that he's trying to buy time, and he's trying to set up a Chamberlain moment for Trump. Now, a Chamberlain moment, just to explain it real quick for people, Chamberlain went to go meet with the mustache man multiple times. And in 1940, or 1936, um, he came back from his last meeting, and he was waving a piece of paper in the air. And he said it had Mustache Man's signature on the piece of paper. It's called the Munich Agreement.
hmm
And Chamberlain was saying, "Peace in our time." Did the Mustache Man stop?
Oof. The answer would be no.
Yeah. 5 months later, 5 months later, after the Munich Agreement, because it bought the Mustache Man time to rearm, he was invading Poland, and it started World War II.
So we're watching people essentially just buy time to get to where they need to get to and what they want to accomplish. and we're just the ones hoping for the best, but preparing essentially, right, for the worst.
I don't think we're hoping for the best anymore. I mean, you've seen the actions that the United States has taken. I mean, we've even seized a Russian oil tank or a Russian flagged oil tanker.
Saw that.
Uh,
What the hell was that?
you know,
They captured the soldiers on that vessel, didn't they?
yeah, and Russia's demanding their repatriation right now.
So like at this point, is it a pissing contest? Like what is this? You just snatched up a vessel that belongs. It was a flagged Russian vessel,
Yeah,
and you just send our special forces, or I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but like, yeah, we're just gonna take it. You got it. I want it. It's mine. That's literally what we're doing.
basically, the bigger guy is the one that takes your lunch, right?
The bully.
Yeah. So a little bit about this vessel for you guys, because I did some research about it. So this vessel left the Gulf of Oman in 2024, and it was sanctioned by a U.S. judge, um, and marked for capture by the judiciary, right? So this is not just an executive decision, right?
Same year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So fast forward December 2025, Donald Trump orders a blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers. At this point, this vessel did not have a Russian flag on it. So the United States military, in the middle of December, makes contact with the vessel. The vessel's name is called the Bella One. And the United States military tells them, we're coming on to board. And the vessel flips a U and starts heading back to the Atlantic. So in the meantime, the vessel puts out a distress signal and contacts its Russian counterparts. And Russia puts the ship on its official list of boats that are now registered with the state of Russia, right?
Mm.
And the vessel paints a Russian flag on the side of its hull. And so, but it didn't matter. On January 7th, the United Kingdom and the United States launched a joint strike on the vessel and seized it. That was just yesterday.
I saw that, and I just kept thinking to myself, it's like we're just gonna just go ape shit, and excuse my language. I swear a lot.
No, you're
We're
good.
just gonna go ape shit and just do what we want and take what we want. Or is this a distraction? I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist. When I was younger, I used to be embarrassed by that title. Now I'm just like, I question everything, especially after COVID.
Mhm.
When we found out that the 6 feet distance was all bullshit. Like I remember being like, this can't be real. Like if I can smell a fart, I'm probably gonna get COVID. Like these masks don't work. You know what I mean? Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I question everything now. And I'm like, man, is this a distraction? What is this? What is, the whole, and again, I wasn't planning on going on this, this direction, but with the whole Epstein files too. We know that Pam Bondi and Cash Patel, I think they're going to be held in contempt. I don't know what's happening with that. I know that they've missed many, many deadlines. Nothing's come out of that. There's no arrest, nothing's, but is this a distraction as well? Like I saw a meme and I thought to myself, like, man, that's not too far from the realm of possibilities. And the meme was the Epstein files are coming out. The globalists are like, okay, well, let's just start a war.
Yeah, basically.
Like,
Yeah,
let's
all
distract,
the
distract,
elites.
distract.
How many CEOs of oil companies do you think are in the Epstein files?
Oof. I
Hey,
mean, our own politicians are in there.
yeah. How many filthy rich, not only CEOs, but senior executives of oil companies are there
Mm.
in the Epstein files?
Did that come out? Do you know the answer to that? Because I don't.
No, I saw a whole bunch of zebra print, a whole bunch of black lines.
Yeah, no, it's disgusting. I mean, I don't. It's abundantly clear that he's either in them or he's. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene just met with the Times, the New York Times. Did you see that a couple of days ago?
I
And she
did.
stated, yeah, she stated that in a conversation with Trump, his response to her, pretty much saying like, "Sir, we have to release these files." He said, "Some very good friends of mine would be in some like serious trouble." Did he mean himself too? And he's just embarrassed and doesn't want to like. I don't know. It's a scary thought because if they're willing to go, I don't know. My mind goes like, can any of this been prevented? Is it, or was it just inevitable? Venezuela, what's going on with this vessel that Trump just like, oh, that's a pretty boat. I want to play with this boat. Go, let's put the guys in. And then my mind goes also like, I work in a jail. I go to jail every day. My mind goes, the conversation probably went as follows with Bibi, because Bibi did spend, I like to call him Baby Boss Bibi because he looks like Baby Boss, but he spent New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago with Trump. And my mind goes in a completely just Bibi and Trump just kicking it, whatever, having drinks, dinner, and Bibi tells him like, "Yeah, you don't have the balls to go get Maduro," and he's like, "What?" And he just calls Pete, and he's like, "Hey, Pete, it's time." Like, I feel like it's a joke, but it's not, because people's lives. And another thing that they're not covering is that I believe the last number I saw was 80 people died when
Yeah.
they went into Caracas. Like, I don't. Is this a joke? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're saying if the current Venezuelan president doesn't play ball, then the U.S. military is going to go in. So whenever military action comes into play, and people get hurt or die, it's sad, right? You don't want to see that across the board. Was Maduro a bad guy? He's still alive, but yes. But when you think about the other side of that question, was Saddam Hussein a bad guy? The answer is yes. Should we have gone into Iraq?
No. What was that? It was like 8 years of civil war. We completely destroyed that country.
We spawned ISIS. The whole reason why
Yep.
ISIS exists is because of the invasion of Iraq.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because if history does repeat itself, what does that tell us about what we're doing today? And I remember being young, like in school, like in middle school and high school, and it's like, oh, the Middle East hates us because of our liberties and our freedom, and they're jealous of us. And I'm like, man, I would be jealous of us too. And then as you become older and you start doing your own research, you're like, that's not why they hate us.
Yeah. So yeah, and I fully dived into that whole thing. Was told that they're trying to get my family and our liberty, and that's why I joined the military at 18, and I was in Iraq before 21 because I wanted to stop what was happening. Right, I was in 8th grade when I saw 9/11 happen. So it was being a kid, a teenager, especially a teenage boy with hormones going on. You're like, yeah, let's go get him.
Yeah. I mean, you're referring to a teenage kid, but we have actual full-grown men on Twitter who are like, yeah, let's fucking get, like, they're expressing the same. And it's like, what? So we're just gonna kill people. That's what we're gonna do. It no matter what. We're just gonna capture Maduro, murder 80 people. I think one was like an elderly woman too. I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like I read somewhere that there was an elderly woman that was, that was taken out as well. And it's just it's crazy.
Yeah, and when you put it to historical context, historians will eventually study the United States. Everybody has to understand that, right? Historians will eventually study the United States. Okay? Put this inside of your head as a historian. In 1941, thousands of American sailors were killed, and ships were burning to the bottom of the ocean. Pearl Harbor, right?
Yep.
President Roosevelt still did not take military action until he got approval from Congress. With thousands of American sailors dead.
And today, Congress doesn't even have a say in anything. Trump just.
And you have to remember, historians will eventually study this,
Hmm.
and they will have two events, and they're going to compare and contrast. What does that say about America today?
How did we get here? That's a heavy question.
Too many presidents pushing executive power. That's exactly what it was.
Does it ever get better?
It can. I personally think if a president runs in 2028, or I'm sorry, presidential candidate runs in
Hmm.
2028, and they run on the platform of rolling back presidential powers to the Jefferson era, pre-Louisiana Purchase. See,
Mm.
Jefferson extended his presidential powers by purchasing the Louisiana Purchase without the approval from Congress. Because you remember, at the time, Louisiana was owned by Napoleon, and Congress didn't want anything to do with any type of deal with Napoleon at all, right? So Jefferson made a deal on an executive level and extended presidential powers, and that's when it started. And it kept going and kept going and kept going. If a presidential candidate runs in 2028 and says, I will roll back all presidential powers to constitutional levels, they will win.
How does how do we get a candidate like that that's not being blackmailed
That's not toxic and not
or
involved in all
controlled?
that
Yeah.
shit.
Are we too far gone? I mean, I can't think of anybody. Can you think of anybody that, I mean, giving the power back to we the people, I mean, sounds like a great starting point.
So, everybody has to understand in the last presidential election, Kamala and Trump both raised over $1 billion each. So when we talk about the presidency, it is out of reach for most people.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest thing is money in politics, term limits in Congress. You should not go into Congress and have a fucking 40-year career and coming out and going into a nursing home.
Right.
Trading stocks in Congress should be illegal. I mean, come
Agreed.
on now.
I was
Come
gonna
on.
say you go in there making what, 150,000 a year, if that. I don't even know, and then you leave a total millionaire in the millions.
Yeah, and I try to approach this whole thing apolitical, as you guys know. But Nancy Pelosi,
She did her.
she has. I mean, there are people that have made millions following her trades. People have become
Yes.
rich following her trades.
I saw there's an actual app that follows the trade. It tracks all her her buyings. I remember when she purchased, it was like X amount of dollars in Nvidia, and I'm like, I should probably just do like a call option or something, and I didn't. And then when she sold, it was like millions of dollars. I'm like, and I agree with you. I think that should be illegal. I think it should. I think Representative Luna from Florida has been pretty vocal about the insider trading, but nobody stopped Pelosi. Who's gonna take the reign on that? I think people are afraid. I think money is the root of all the love of money, or the love for money is the root of all evil. So people just kind of lose touch. I want to believe that most people, when they get into Congress, they want to fight for their constituents and they want to do the right thing. And somehow they just get, I don't even know, they transform into this money hungry. Something happens when you go to Congress. I can't explain it. How many of them do not receive money, whether it's from APAC or whether it's from whatever lobbying entity? But how many? The money's no longer coming from the average American that gives their little $20 or their $100. It's not happening anymore.
Right. Yeah. And, Citizens United allowed corporations to be able to use political voices to be able to put unlimited amount of monies into super PACs, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
So it pulls away things like this. as far as getting a good person into the presidency. Um, that's not a regular person. Real quick, I need to go take a
Yep.
5-second break. Just need to go use
That's
the
a
restroom. I'll be
yeah,
right
yeah, go
back.
ahead. Yeah, take it easy.
Thanks. Oh boy.
Guys, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Abby Effect. Small little, my not so big, not so small podcast. It's my first time with a guest, Keith Goldsby. His Instagram name is on there. It's the same for his TikTok. He subsequently just went viral for posting a video on December 11th, kind of predicting what was going to happen in Venezuela. And he was spot on. So I wanted to just have a conversation with him in regards to where the heck that information came from and how did he know. So I'm going to put it on the screen so just whoever's joining us now, he went to go take a quick break. I'll put it on the screen now so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. But this is the Instagram post that he posted on December 11th, 2025. Let me make sure the volume's on there. But actually he's back. Also,
sorry about
Jaws. Jaws is my favorite movie, just so you know.
Oh, Jaws is your favorite movie?
Like for the 50th, I literally decked out with a Jaws 50th. I bought all the things, the socks. I was like a nerd, but yes. Now I was just explaining to everybody that's watching who you were and to just an update on your TikTok account and your Instagram. And I was gonna just show them the video, but since you're back, they can see it, and I'll add the link to the description. I wanted to ask you another question. It's completely left field, but it bothered me because I love Tulsi Gabbard. I'm like a huge Tulsi Gabbard fan. I don't know how I feel about what's going on. She's been very, very quiet. I feel like she's kind of playing it safe. She doesn't want I'm assuming, this is all speculation, she doesn't want the Marjorie Taylor response. So she's very quiet. But following Tulsi, I know that she is still a soldier, I believe. I think she's with the guards. She joined the military because of September 11th. A lot of people like yourself did that. And so I can't ask her, but I ask you as somebody who was part of that. And again, we thank you for your service. How did it feel knowing that, or seeing rather, watching the new leader of Syria, Ahmed Ashara, just playing hoops in the White House with some of our military members? And he was a part of a group tied into Al-Qaeda. I thought that was like a smack in the face to our soldiers. So somebody like Tulsi, who gave her life to the military, she's still an active military, not active, but you know what I mean? She's still in the guards. Like, what the hell was that?
I think, and we see this effect with Trump in a lot of different aspects. If you look at how he interacted when Mom Donnie was in the room, or when he met Kim Jong-un, he has a fascination. I think it probably comes with his from his childhood, because remember, his father was a very powerful businessman, right? Mm-hmm. So I think Donald Trump has an affection for powerful people, and it's a subconscious thing. You could see it play out in real time.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it, because going back to putting his name on the Kennedy Center and the Trump gold card, where you could just now buy your citizenship. Folks, if you're watching this from abroad and you want to buy your citizenship, welcome to the Trump era. It's called the gold Trump card. For $1 million, you can become a citizen.
Is it $1 million or $5 million?
Initially it was $6 million. And then, it was $6 million. And then I think I read somewhere where now it's like the number changed pretty drastically. I could be wrong. If somebody can comment and just fact check me, but what, you were just going to sell citizenships, just like Rudy Giuliani was selling pardons. And do you know who John Kiriakou is, by the way?
Mm-mm.
So John Kiriakou is an ex CIA agent who he became the whistleblower for the CIA water torture program. And
I think I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I've emailed back and forth with him. But yeah, he ended up serving, I think it was like 24 months, because he was just on an interview, I think, whether it was like ABC News or whoever it was. And he's like, yeah, no, Bush lied. We, in fact, not only did we partake in a torture program, it was ineffective. And somebody told him, hey, Donald Trump can get you a pardon. So he's like, you got to go through Rudy Giuliani. So he meets, guys, I put a video, a short video on my YouTube about that. I'll add it on there. But he meets with Rudy, and Rudy's like, yeah, it's going to cost you $2 million. He's like, $2 million. He's like, I don't have $2 million. They took my pension. I'm here because I need a pardon. But it's like, we live in this world where, like, I guess you can just buy yourself a pardon. If you have, I can't afford a pardon. I mean, I'm not a criminal, but citizenship, what else? You can buy Greenland. Like,
You got to wonder if some of these pardons that have been coming out recently that are a little questionable about, drug convictions and crypto fraud and stuff like that Trump has been issuing. Very rich billionaires that were in prison, right?
and also the ex-president of Honduras too.
Yeah. I'm actually fairly certain that Maduro is going to Russia more than likely. I don't think he's going to be spending much time in jail. I think he's probably going to get some kind of release because of financial reasons. And he'll be exiled to Russia for the rest of his life. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be spending too much time in jail.
Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, if you look at other heads of states that have actually been captured by the United States, it's always like some kind of perp walk and some kind of display and diplomatic stuff. And then once the situation ends, they're usually exiled or sent somewhere. So I think that's probably exactly what's happening.
See, I have zero faith in this administration that I'm like, yeah, they're going to charge him, right? And then he's going to get charged with all these, but then here's going to come Trump, and whether before he gets impeached, if he gets impeached, or before he's done with his term, he's going to be like, remember that guy from Venezuela and his wife? He was a good guy. He looked good in that tracksuit. Let's get him a pardon. I just don't have faith. Just like I feel like he's going to do the same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell. I could be completely far, with this, but it's like nothing surprises me anymore with this administration. And it was funny because I think that people like this administration specifically, they think that we, the people, are stupid. Like they wanted us to believe this narrative that it was over drugs and it was over these boats. And it's like, that's not, I don't, it's very infuriating. Especially, I'm a huge, I have a lot of friends in the military, co-workers in the military, or, veterans. And it bothers me that those are the last people that we take care of in this country.
I agree with you, especially when we're talking about, subsidies and bailouts for companies or paying other countries' citizens to convince them to join the U.S. Why isn't there shelters all over the country with that type of money for veterans, right?
Yeah. I saw a post today on Instagram that it was actually the first time that I saw something like that in that perspective. And it was about a lady basically talking about the same thing we're talking about with our veterans, our homeless veterans, and the lack of resources. And she's like, it just dawned on me, what if this is done on purpose? Because the knowledge, the experience, and the wisdom that our military men and women have, there will be a revolt. They would know how to take down the government. And I'm like, it was eloquently put by her. I completely butchered it. It was an awesome video. And I'm like, I never thought about it that way. What if conspiracy theorists here?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the end result of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars for the veterans, for a long time, it was sustained that 22 veterans were losing their life every day at their own hand. And it's still pretty high. And the conditions on the ground contribute to that. And you have to wonder, is it part of the bigger plan?
I mean, it's a fair question. I was interested in asking you how, where, and when do you do your research? Like, I'm just getting fascinated with politics and history, and obviously your time in the military is going to give you a knowledge that I would never obtain. But just the fact that you were able to call that out with Venezuela. And like you talked about the telegram that was sent out, and I'm like, what's happening? What does he know that I don't know? What are your resources? Like, what do you do where you know that you're getting the information correct?
So I use multiple sources. I use an app called Smart News, which is a news app on Android. It gives you uh, top news from around the world from different sources, and it
Gotcha.
doesn't just give you like one echo chamber, right? So Smart News is a good resource. Um, Also, I would have to say that a lot of the um, insight that I have is from years of studying military history and uh, writing papers in the middle of the night and
Yeah. Wow.
understanding exactly where in a lot of these projects that you do in college when you're looking at military history and or history in general is that you have to formulate your own opinion when you're writing these papers. So sometimes you could have a 20-page paper that you have to justify what you think, right?
Mm,
So there's a lot of critical thinking skills that has to go into any type of history degree, right? And so I would say that that training really kind of helped me understand context for global situations on top of just seeing a news story. Because if you see a news story, you see a news story, but what does it mean,
right. Right.
right? That's
Which
basically it.
conflict worries you the most right now? Are you worried?
Mm.
You seem like so chill. Like your videos, I'm like, if it were me, right? If it were me reporting what you report, I'd be like, guys, check it out. This is what's happening. However, you're like, guys, this is what's happening, and you should probably prepare. Like, I was a little dramatic. Sorry about that.
You're good. So I think the most concerning thing tonight is what Denmark's prime minister said about Greenland. So, an update for you guys about what happened today.
Please.
Um, so, Denmark sent an official communication to the United States through Congress to the Armed Services Committee, and they said that they are not interested in the buyout, which is what we were talking about before, $100,000 per person, right? So Greenland sent an official communication today that
Okay.
said that they were not interested in Greenland being purchased. Um, so Donald Trump has said that we need Greenland for national security purposes and we'll use the military. There's a law in Denmark that says that if Greenland is attacked, that the armed services does not need approval from the homeland to start fighting back. It's a law,
Mm,
right? Um, the prime minister of Denmark also said that if the United States attacks Greenland, that would be the end of NATO because basically
right.
you're going to have NATO members take each side, right? It's going to be like just like anything in the world, right? There's a side to everything, right? Um, so what happens if NATO shatters? What does Russia do?
Oh God, they're gonna take what they want. They're gonna
The
go in where they
Baltic,
want.
yeah, the Baltics are no longer protected by NATO. Yep, the
So,
European Union would probably not last very long without some kind of NATO structure behind it.
are you opposed to the destruction of NATO? What are your thoughts on NATO?
Oh
A
man.
lot of people are conflicted. I feel like I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and it's a hard one.
So my general opinion is that alliances, especially when they get intricate and they get complicated, it's dangerous. It's exactly what happened in World War One, right? Alliances were triggered conscriptions were ordered. One thing happened, so 3 other nations had to be pulled in because of a treaty, right? World War I was largely caused because of stupid treaties, right?
Right.
But on the other side of that, NATO existed to counter Russia. My personal opinion is that NATO should have been dissolved in 1995, I think.
Hmm.
1991, the Soviet Union collapsed.
There was no need. Yeah.
Mhm. So, 1991 to 1995, you have some buffer there, spend a little bit more money, organize everybody, make sure everybody is fine, dissolve, right? 4 years, 1995, 1996, should have been done. But the choices were made that were made. And in the 2000s, we included Lithuania, Romania, and another country. It's 3 countries. It's like 2004 or something like that. We added 3 more countries that used to be Soviet Union, you know, states, and we pushed in. We basically been pushing NATO towards Russia since the end of the Soviet Union. So you have to wonder: is the purpose of NATO now? Was the purpose of NATO in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s? Was that to counter Russia, or is it something else entirely?
It's a lot of good questions you asked me. I hope that people who are watching this want to they want to go and do their own research, and like you said, history. I said history repeats itself. You said history rhymes. This isn't. We're at a point in our country and in the world, if you want to be honest, um, where it's unpredictable. Like I went to sleep Friday night thinking I was going to have a flight on Saturday morning to Puerto Rico to get some sun for the weekend, and I wake up to we kidnapped a president and and his wife. We took her too. So we're in uncertain times, and it's scary because I feel like our generation is just seeing everything for the first time. I mean, granted, there was, we had in the 1800s, we had, or 1900s rather, the Spanish, like people experienced this, but like me and you now, the things that we're experiencing right in front of our eyes is crazy.
You're right. Millennials have been fucked every
Shafted.
which way since Sunday. They really have
We,
been.
we've been shafted, and people can't even buy homes today. People, we worry about going into other countries, but I know that there's a bigger reason. I know there's a bigger, plan behind it. And I just hope that people that watch this, which by the way, guys, follow his page. He's probably at like 13 million views now for that viral post. We got to learn our history, because how do we know where we're going if we don't know where we came from?
Exactly. You have to know your past to know your present. You have to know your past to know your future.
Yeah, this is an interesting conversation. And going back to Greenland, it's fair to say that we want Greenland for the location, right? I mean, obviously there's natural resources and stuff there, but it's location, location, location. No, is that what you think?
So, the way I'm going to portray this is that you have to understand that there is facts here. So I'm not trying to convince you each way or the other about global warming.
Mm-hmm.
But there are facts here that you have to understand why we want Greenland.
The water's rising, right?
The ice caps around Greenland are starting to melt, and it's creating a new trade way that goes through Greenland up towards the northern part of the Arctic. And it's basically, when you have these trade routes, you can initiate these, basically like these toll booths, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically what we have in the Panama Canal, right?
Right.
Where they pay you to be able to go through, right? So if another country has Greenland and they're making a lot of money off of this new trade route that's about to come. The United States is basically doing the same thing that we are doing with the oil in Venezuela.
Hmm.
Is that we're seizing that trade route, and then on top of that, Greenland has rare earth minerals.
Yes.
It's one of the most resource rich locations in the world, and we need rare earth minerals for electronics. We need it for electric cars. We need it for computers. Artificial intelligence is taking off in a way that, you know, I saw an analogy that said that we are looking at artificial intelligence transforming society 100,000 times more than what the steam engine did.
Holy smokes.
100,000 times more impactful than the steam engine.
Guys, I hope you're paying attention. He's talking about AI.
Yeah,
AI's not coming, it's here.
yeah, it's here. But it hasn't really been unleashed to production yet. But it's about to. Like what we're seeing on chatbots and stuff, the logic that we're using with ChatGPT and stuff, AI will eventually be able to make real world decisions on production, inputs, demands, supply, and make real world decisions at that moment. It has not, people don't understand this. AI has not really been unleashed to production yet. We haven't really unleashed it to producing goods and services. We have it as a good reference point. It's like a really fancy Google machine right now, right?
That's a good comparison.
It's not going to be like that in 2 years. My boys are 9 years old. I have twin 9-year-old boys. For those who
I'm
are
a
wondering.
twin. Shout out to Amanda. Amanda, I know you're watching. Shout out to my family, Florida, that's watching. Yeah, I have a twin sister. Twins are cool.
I have twin 9-year-old boys. Imagine what the world looks like when they're 18 years old in another 9 years.
It's crazy because when you think about your childhood, right? And I was just talking about this with somebody else, just with technology. Like we're talking about technology, but AI is something in itself, right? Its own entity. But I remember like being a kid, like breaking my arm because I was like rollerblading and whatever. And now you don't even see children. I haven't seen a child. I don't have any kids, but I'm around like I have nieces and nephews. I haven't seen a kid with a broken arm or a broken leg because they're like this, just just on the screen. I definitely just went cross-eyed doing that. So imagine AI. That's like I saw a story not too long ago where AI became the girlfriend of a young kid.
Right.
Who did you see that?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Oh yeah. I want to make sure I be careful about how I say this.
Yes.
There is a significant demand from a lot of guys that have no game, right?
Yes.
For robotic.
Yes, I saw
partners,
that.
Right. And I think it will be a significant market. But the other side of that is that it now competes with procreation, actually reproducing and actually contributing to society, right? And I think we're going to see something along the lines of an unhealthy disruption that technology can do with human psychology. Think about when the internet first started coming out, like really started coming out for the individual user, right? Like 1995, 2000s. The millennials had unfiltered access to the internet, right?
Yeah.
Think about a lot of the stuff, a lot of the garbage that was out there. The same thing's going to happen with AI. Same thing is going to happen with AI, and even with robotics with AI, we're going to see a lot of garbage. We're going to see a lot of smut, right?
Yep.
But it's
Smut bots.
yeah, but it's it's a back to history and rhyming. Uh, Human psychology can be easy to predict if you understand history. And if you understand the rise of the dot-com era and how
Hmm.
that happened, you're going to know how artificial intelligence is going to play out.
And then my conspiracy. It's invisible right now, but guys, I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. He's mad because he's in my other
You're
bedroom.
good. I
So I
can't hear.
apologize for that. Okay, good. So my conspiracy hat goes on, right? And it makes me think, how many times Bill Gates has talked about depopulation and how there's way too many of it. I think even Elon has spoken about, he wanted to colonize Mars by 2050. Um, it makes me think with these future robotic madams, if we want to call them,
Oh
if
God.
that's ultimately like part of the bigger plan as well, because depopulation has been a conversation that's been, and again, and even with the whole global warming talk, people are like, oh, global warming is a hoax, whatever. The facts are the facts. The facts are the facts. The water's rising, the ice caps are melting. Is the United States going to do what they have to do to get that trade route? They're going to do whatever they have to do to get it. Same thing with AI. People are going to do and promote companies or robots or whatever to make the billions of dollars.
Right.
And these billionaires, they have their sticky little nasty hands in all of it. So if depopulation is part of the situation, let's get these robots out here.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of that is, you know, the doomsday scenario, where artificial intelligence takes over the world, right? And
Mm,
you know, I think there's always a chance of that happening, right? But I think what is more likely to happen is that a slow burn of the human race. So if artificial intelligence did take over, or it was able to have some type of influence over something like that, I could see AI wanting to do something that could take 7, 8, 900 years to slowly depopulate
mm,
over multiple generations. So the individual person that's living their life doesn't actually see the impact over 3 generations ago, right?
wow.
The
Yeah,
difference between life 3 generations ago and today. Yeah, how can you compare and contrast that, right?
that's a scary thought.
So I think more than likely what's going to happen, um, is some kind of slow burn of the human race until eventually, you know, machines take over the world, and and the Terminator comes and gets you, uh, all of that. But you know, the other side of that is that there's a equation on the other side of artificial intelligence that is unlimited resources and having a job being optional, and everybody is at the max level of wealth all of the time, right?
Mm,
Is that where we're going? Now, when nuclear energy came out, the 1950s, remember that? The nuclear family? Um, the same story was sold to them. Do you know that?
no.
They said that nuclear energy was going to be able to produce anything because it's energy out of almost nothing, right? Unlimited energy out of almost nothing. We're going to be able to do anything we want, open as many factories as we want, right? So the unlimited wealth, unlimited resources, unlimited production, automation, all of these ideas were also sold to the nuclear family. So just a little bit of context. I think the artificial intelligence situation is more like a bubble after, if you guys remember, like, what do you call it? The 2000s, Y2K, that's what it was.
God, I remember that.
Yeah, everybody thought the computers were going to burn down, and then
Yeah.
after that, the bubble and money burned, basically. Um, I think everybody has a lot of high expectations of AI, which it has a lot to fulfill, but I don't think it's an unlimited type of ambition where you can do everything. You know what I mean?
So essentially, what you're saying is we're still going to need humans. People still need to exist.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, guys, start having babies. More and more babies.
More babies. More babies. Yeah.
It's a scary conversation to have because we know the direction that this is going. You said 5 years. I was thinking maybe like 10, but it's you're the historian here. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna crown you that name tonight. And it's scary because you're right. Your little ones are 9, and to think that by the time they hit 18, you're gonna be like, man, I remember having this conversation with what's that girl's name, Abby, on that
Yeah.
podcast, and we talked about the boys, and they were 9 years old. Like it's a scary thought because where does it go from here?
I mean, by the time my boys are 18 in 9 years, it's a certainty that artificial intelligence is going to be largely impactful to society. What that is going to look like is a big question.
Wasn't there a country? I'm gonna Google it real quick. Wasn't there a country that had their first like political leader be AI? Is that true? Did I read that somewhere?
Oh man, I haven't heard that. That would
I
be
gotta
crazy.
Google that. AI. I'm gonna Google that.
The
I,
first artificial
I want to
intelligence.
say it was Albania, but I don't want to be. I love Albanians. I don't want to say anything, but I feel like let me Google it. I'll see what I find. Which country? I feel like I read an article like that used AI as a I'll say political figure. I don't know. Figure. We'll see. It was probably a meme or something, but I am intrigued. But do you see it going down that direction?
I could see some countries like there's always radicalism when it comes to any type of politics, right? There's
Yeah,
radicals on every,
there
and
really is.
it would definitely be considered radical to say your entire political future would be in the hands of a artificial intelligence bot, right? I could see people supporting it, saying it would be the most efficient way to be able to handle politics, right? Um, what I think is probably most likely to happen is we're probably going to see constitutions like built around artificial intelligence to make sure that it is a consulted versus a leader, right?
Mm. And integrated because they're definitely going to integrate it. This is what the AI Google said, but it's Google, guys. It said in September 2025, Albania became the first country to appoint an AI system named Delia as a Minister of State for AI. That's a position.
Whoa. Wait a second. You're making the AI in charge of the AI? That's a
Is
terrible
this
idea.
for real?
That's a
And then
terrible idea.
it's a virtual avatar dressed in traditional Albanian attire. It was introduced by Prime Minister Edi Rama to oversee public procurement processes and combat the country's longstanding issue of corruption. The AI
Wow.
system's goal is to ensure that all public tenders are 100% free of corruption by fully transparent. And fully transparent, rather. I knew I read it somewhere.
That's insane. That's
That just
insane.
happened in September.
That's crazy. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below. Would you trust an artificial intelligence computer bot, something cold like that, to make political decisions for you?
Yeah, it'll essentially be like, right? There would be no gray area. It would be just black and white. Like either you were wrong or you were right. That there's no room for debate, questions to be asked, no gray area at all.
Yeah, and then what happens when that artificial intelligence decides, I can do this process more efficiently if I just didn't have these people in my way. You know what
Right, right.
you know what I mean? Oh, it
So
seems
this is
like
what it says. It says that the status. So obviously, there's constitutional concerns. The appointment has been met with criticism from the opposition, which argues it's unconstitutional and as an AI is not a human citizen, cannot bear political responsibility. And the status of this I've already forgot the name. Delia. Let's call her D. The status of D, while presented as a minister, D's role is largely considered symbolic or propaganda fantasy by critics as a human minister. But it says Prime Minister Rana himself retains legal responsibility for its functioning. The goals are to the move is part of Albania's the goal. The move is part of Albania's broader push for digitalization. Oh my God, I can't even speak. Digital. Do you want to say that word for me? I can't say
Digitalization.
it. There you go. And anti-corruption measures. Sorry, guys. Please don't come for me in the comments. My bad. Which are key requirements for its bid to join the European Union. Dude. What the? I mean, they say it's a propaganda fantasy. So, can you imagine that? How did the robotic dogs work out in New York? Remember that?
They used them for bombs and stuff, which I guess is good that they can get them close to be able to do those type of things, right?
Some type like a rover or something like that, right?
Right, but when you start having a machine making decisions for you, especially when it's politics is supposed to be meant for people to review, right, and to make decisions. And when cold calculated decisions are made, it can lead to bad consequences.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And it's like we're kind of screwed either way, guys. If AI is making the decisions for us, we're screwed. And if it's the politicians, they're getting paid on the side. So we're kind of fucked either way on any side.
You're right.
It's unfortunate. Guys, look into the Monroe Doctrine. Look into everything that Keith brought up. This was a great conversation. I could talk to you for freaking hours. I have so many questions, and hopefully we can do another one. Guys, if you have any questions, any comments, concerns, again, don't come at me for my spelling or my reading. I'm not, whatever. I did have one last question that I want to ask, and then I guess we can, I mean, I'm free all night. We can keep it rolling, whatever. It's up to you. But it's kind of, it's already an hour, 20 minutes in. But I do have a question for you. Is there, it's probably going to, okay. I was going to bring up Minneapolis and what happened over there because the AI kind of reminded me of that. Like, imagine if police officers were AI.
Yeah.
If officers were AI, right, they would either condemn that officer or say, oh, no, it was self-defense. We're in a very, very strange part in society right now. Like where we are, it's scary. But are there any stories that you think are flying under the radar right now that people should be asking questions about?
Yeah. So there's a couple of them. The first thing, I have not seen this very much on the mainstream media, but Iran taking down their internet access for their entire country as these protests are exploding. You would think that would be propaganda gold for the United States, right? Why isn't that going more crazy in the media, right?
Agreed.
It seems odd to me. Maybe it's designed to not induce a panic, but or give people ideas. But on the other side, I think the United States is probably going to try to condemn Iran for a lot of the violent, protests, crackdowns, and stuff. But on the other side of the hand, they're going to be able to make some kind of argument that the U.S. hasn't necessarily been the greatest with their demonstrators, right? And you guys can look at everything objectively and make some decisions for yourself. But this is an argument that geopolitics is going to put, and people are going to have two different sides of the equation, no matter what situation you have, right? And I guess I'll just part with this. In 1985, Reagan convinced the entire world that the Soviet Union was evil, right? That event led to multiple countries suspending trade and cutting off diplomatic ties with the Soviet Union. Reagan even successfully compared the Soviet Union to the evil empire in Star Wars. It wasn't the cause, but it was one of the most significant causes of the fall of the Soviet Union. So when we talk about these individual stories that are coming out and how this is working out, people have to understand the overriding context of the perception of the world. Perception of the world is a national security issue. And I'm concerned with the moves that we've been making, that China, Russia, North Korea, people that want to take advantage of us looking bad, are going to be able to successfully make an argument that the United States is an evil empire.
Mm.
So I'm seeing a historical correlation, and I'm concerned about it. And I think everybody that's watching this should be concerned about it and take that into context as you are viewing news stories and as you're listening to politicians. We have a larger story that's going on right now, and that's the perception of the world.
That was beautifully put.
Thank you.
It reminds me of Malcolm X when he said, the media has the power to make the innocent look guilty and the guilty look innocent. And
Exactly.
if it's our we as Americans, as just the human race, it is our duty to do our research, to not necessarily just go by following a story because the person that's putting it out there we're fans of. We got to do our diligence. We have to pray for our country. We have to pray for each other. It's scary times. This was a fantastic conversation. Thank you for you dropped so many like gems today. I can't wait to go back and rewatch this because I'm gonna be like, I'm looking into this and I'm looking into that. Tell everybody where they can follow you. I mean, guys, he's viral everywhere. So like do the things, all the socials.
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, on YouTube. On Friday nights, I'm going live. The Keith Goldsby Show. It's something that I'm starting up. I'm going to be inviting guests just like this. I'm going to be discussing the world events. I want different political views on there. So we're going to have conservatives. We're going to have liberals. We're going to be talking to each other again. Damn it, you guys, we need to start talking to each other again. And if I have to do it myself, I'm going to.
Let's go. I love that.
So that's what we're doing. I'll sprinkle in lives as major events happen between TikTok and Instagram. For example, when Maduro was captured, I went live that night and talked about it. So as things develop, you guys will be seeing me. I'm not going anywhere.
Guys, follow. I'm going to put in the description his page, his YouTube page. Follow. We got to do better as a country. We gotta do our own research. Stop falling for the what do they call it now? The Fed slop. What we're being told.
Yeah, the slot. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're showing us, right? They showed us online. And I'll end with this real quickly. They showed us online that in Venezuela people were celebrating the capture of Maduro, and then on other sites you'll see people are literally protesting against what the United States did. So,
right.
So some of the truth has to be, and again, the Iran story, that's a big one, guys. Look into the Iran story. They cut their internet. They cut their power and internet, correct?
Depending on where you are, they cut power in some locations.
Because of demonstrations.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You heard it here. Thanks for watching the Not So Big, Not So Small podcast to Abby Effect. It was a pleasure. God bless you and your family and your kids. And we'll talk soon, and we'll see you later, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Bye.